Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Habib Enyola. Welcome to Just Banter. And today we have a very special guest on the show. You all might know him. His name is Senator Dino Melaye. Quite an enigma. Different people have their different opinions about him. But what can you say? He's one of the most important people in Nigerians politics today. How do I, or why do I say that? You find out in a moment. Let's welcome onto the show, Senator Dino Melaye. Senator Dino Melaye.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you today, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
Yeah, great. I can see you do not have the COVID-19 look like we all do. You're looking fresh.
Yeah. The grace of God.
It's interesting to have you on the show.
The pleasure is
Yes, it's quite interesting to have you on today. We have viewers from all over the world who are interested in seeing Senator Dino Melaye. But there's a question that they would like to know first, because that question has been trending all over, and that is, are you actually a better actor than President Obasanjo?
I'm not in any way competing with my Baba. Baba is Baba any day.
But you both seem to have a lot in common. You both like entertainment. You both acted in movies. You both like to sing. Baba likes to sing. You also like to dance. Baba likes to dance as well. So you seem to actually have a lot in common, especially when it comes to your brand of politics.
Yeah, but I'm not a letter writer.
You're not a letter writer. but you're a very interesting person in the sense that you are one of the most influential people in Nigeria, and people ask me, why would I say that? Senator Dino Melaye, you have over 3 million followers on social media. That is approximately 1.5% of the entire population of the country. Now, there's no politician dead or alive that has that.
Actually put together Instagram, Twitter, and my Facebook account put together, I have over 6 million.
You have over 6 million?
Yeah.
Senator Dino Melaye, that is a lot of influence that you are wielding. Quite a lot of influence. How do you translate this?
I think I lost you there. I think it's the internet or something. Musti. Where's Musti? I think this thing is using your. Is it using yours?
Yes.
Where's the phone? We lost each other for some.
Okay, bring it back on.
For some minutes now.
It's on.
Okay, that's the phone.
You bring it back on.
Senator Melaye.
You're using your own WhatsApp now.
I'm using my other. Yeah. I'm using my other.
Hello, Senator Melaye.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We lost each other there.
Yes, my apologies for that. But then we all know, the problems that we have in Nigeria in terms of internet connection, electricity, and the likes. And, that brings me to the first question of the evening, yeah. Senator Melaye. There seem to be so many problems. You were born in northern Nigeria, I think Kano, if I'm correct.
Very correct.
Yes, and so you actually have a similar experience to a lot of successful Nigerian politicians who have had the opportunity to, relate with people from across, the different nations within the nation called Nigeria. But for some strange reason, even though you are of this generation that has had the most opportunity in Nigerian history, in terms of education, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of exposure, there seems to be teething problems that have not been addressed. We know that you have passed quite a few bills in the Senate, including the Disability Integration Bill, Protection Against Domestic Violence Act, and other similar acts. But, Senator Dino Melaye, there are teething problems in Nigeria. And a man that has the type of access that you have to so many followers in Nigeria, you said you have over 6 million followers on social media. Senator Dino Melaye, you're in a position to become the president. But we are not seeing you taking on these people in the form of progressive action. You do a lot in terms of you taking on the system and trying to make a couple of points. But can you tell people of your generation, my generation, why we have these problems and why you think these problems exist?
Okay, basically, I'll start by saying that we must admit that what we have is a systemic failure, and the responsibility goes to both followership and leadership, though more of leadership. But the indolence, the I don't care attitude, the complexity of nonchalant attitude of the followership also create a lot of problems. To start with, in an unjust society, silence is a crime. And I do believe that Nigerians must come out of the cocoon and start asking questions. The leadership in this country, including myself, we are still comfortable because we have not received any civil disobedience. We have not received any agitation for accountability. We have not been questioned. Nigerians are so comfortable with the state of our affairs because once they throw carrots around, we are satisfied. So the truth of the matter, will continue to suffer in perilous times like we are now if the followership do not take ownership of government. Government is not owned by those in government. Government is owned by the people. And the office of the citizen of a country is far bigger, stronger than the office of the president, of the governor, of any legislator in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So if we get to know that those who occupy positions of leadership, including myself, we are less than 5% of the population of this country. And it is a misnomer, it is an absurdity for 5% to dominate 95%. I mean, it's a misnomer. So Nigerians must definitely come out of their cocoon. Every Nigerian must decide to either walk in the light of creative altruism or will perish in the darkness of destructive selfishness. So in a nutshell, Nigerians must, as a matter of urgent national importance, start holding leadership responsible, start asking for accountability at the councillorship level, at the state House of Assembly level, at the chairman of local government level, at the state governors level, and also at the federal level. We cannot keep quiet. If not, we will be reenacting the song of Fela that stipulated singing, suffering and smiling. You cannot be suffering and smiling. People must come out of their cocoon to ask questions, and that is the only way change can come.
So, Senator Melaye, are you saying in effect, you will not mind my words, are you saying in effect that, Nigeria suffers bad followership rather than bad leadership?
Yeah, Nigeria suffers both, because as I speak to you, Nigeria is not only sick, but equally suffers from what I call a dreadful congenital abnormality. And there's a need for amelioration, palliation, there's a need for correction. Leadership has gone astray. Leadership, we don't have it in the real essence of it. Then followership has become so indolent and so compromising. So it's a mixture of both. The followership must rejig. In fact, we need to reboot Nigeria, both at leadership level and at followership level. So it's a mixture of both that have created the outrageously calamitous situation we are in.
So, Senator Melaye, this generation, like I was talking about earlier on, has been blessed to have the most opportunities in Nigeria, but it also has the highest exodus numbers from the country. Now, of course, I'm sure you are aware of what is going on across the United States with riots erupting everywhere and all whatnot because a man was killed by the police. Now, we have very similar situations in Nigeria where the police are arbitrarily killing people. You yourself personally have had, quite a few escapades with the Nigerian police and the Nigerian system. You even had to jump out of a moving vehicle under the allegations that you made that they were trying to kill you at that particular point in time. Now, is this, when you say it's a systemic failure, is it our constitution that has an issue? Or is it the foundation in itself? Or is it a case of the colonial mass that you call Nigeria is too difficult and too troublesome to manage as a nation?
Actually, Habib, I think it's a combination of all that you've mentioned and many others. The truth of the matter is this, that as a country, talking about my generation, when I was growing up as a child, houses had no fences, even in the GRAs.
Yeah, that's true.
When I was growing up as a child, houses had no fences in the GRAs. And the level of insecurity was very, very minimal. But today we have graduated from having fences in our houses as if, in fact, when I was growing up, the only place I see tall fences is either a zoo or a prison yard. But today,
really?
we just don't have tall fences. The situation degenerated to the level that we started having broken bottles as barrier on our fences. From broken bottles, it became barbed wires. Today, it's electric fence. That's to tell you the magnitude and intensity of decay in the system. When I did my biology practical as an O-level student, I was given a live frog and cockroach to dissect and label. Today, that is no more. What you have is alternative to practical. A student will imagine a frog. A student will imagine a frog and then draw a frog. You go to our secondary schools today, there is no litmus paper in any of the laboratories. You go to our schools today, they no longer teach history. Our educational curriculum is in comatose states. Nobody teaches you about Nigeria. Nobody teaches you about sovereignty. Nobody teaches you about patriotism, civic education, nationalism, and all that. So the only means of social reorientation at the secondary school level now is social studies. And what does it teach you? It teaches you about Jaja of Okobo, Awolowo of Western Nigeria, Azikiwe of Eastern Nigeria, Sadona of Northern Nigeria. So even as a child, you're already indoctrinated with this ethnic consciousness. So over the years, all these negativities gave birth to a new level of orientation that is responsible for drug abuse, for rascality, for youth restiveness, and all the social malice we have in the milieu in the society today. I am giving this historical perspective to the whole thing for us to understand that there is a generational failure. That all this created a lot of ethnic consciousness in us. Now you are going to the hospital, you are given an hospital form in any government hospital you are going to go today. There's a when you want to get in, they give you an hospital card to register. In that hospital card, there's a column for religion, there's a column for state, there's a column for tribe, there's a column for local government. How will in any way these factors facilitate your recovery, medically or not? It only creates ethnic consciousness. So what I'm saying in essence is that because of all these negativities, because of all these imperfections and infractions into our tradition, culture, and even laws, we have become an outrageously calamitous society. The laws we are using are archaic. As I speak to you, there are colonial laws that are still practiced in Nigeria.
Sorry, when you say colonial laws, Senator Dino Melaye, can you give us an example?
There are crimes today in our jurisprudence that the punishment is 2 naira, 20 naira, 5 naira.
Senator Dino Melaye, can you give us an outright example of one of those laws that you say?
There are plethora of laws. Even the quarantine law we are operating. Even the prison laws. There are a number of laws that need to be amended. The constitution of this country also has created a lot of imperfections and imbalance. And I think the 8th Senate did a bit in making sure that some parts of that constitution is amended. And it was amended and recommended to the president, but the president refused to sign those amendments, including the electoral amendment bill that was passed. As I speak to you, the office of the Attorney General of the Federation and the office of the Minister of Justice is one and the same. How can a man who is a card-carrying member of a political party, an appointee of Mr. President, prosecute in public interest? That is not possible. He will act as the Minister of Justice at the same time act as the Attorney General of the Federation. I mean, that's already there's conflict of interest. These are some of the recommendations.
True, obviously.
These are some of the constitutional amendments that were carried out, but that is yet to be signed by Mr. President. So we need, the whole thing need holistic. That's why I said there's a need to reboot Nigeria. There's a need for attitudinal change. There's a need for a lot of reintroduction of some facts that will meet the technological and scientific demands of recent times. Our education is purely academic. As I speak to you today, there are no more vocational training centers. There are no more technical colleges. There are no more craft schools. All these are gone. And today, ideas rule the world. And unfortunately, we have a mono economy, which is crude oil. And today, if you look at 20 years ago, the richest people in the world used to be oil merchants like King Fahad of Saudi Arabia because of oil, Sultan of Brunei because of oil. But today, ideas have overtaken oil. That's why you have
idea economies, yes.
That's why you have people like Warren Buffett. That's why you have people like Bill Gates. That's why you have the Zuckerbergs of this world. That's why you have people like, institutions like Uber that is just idealistic and internet and computer based. That's why you have even Amazon that is not a store anywhere in the world, but it's an app. Uber is making a lot of money. Zoom is making a lot of money. So that is to buttress and elucidate the veracity, capacity, and capability of ideas. So we need to...
Okay, Senator Melaye. Sorry. You benefited from free education. Probably up to the tertiary, probably up to the tertiary, level, because you were in ABU in the 90s. So that means you probably had some free education in primary school and probably in secondary school. Maybe not.
Subsidized education, yeah. Subsidized, not free.
Okay. So one of our viewers from Canada, his name is Patrick. I will not read the full context of what he has written. I'll just pick out, the relevant part of his comments. And he said, Senator Melaye started his political career talking the same way and giving an impression as the voice of the people. He says, good followership gave birth to bad leadership as evident from Senator Dino's time in government. He feels that you have betrayed their support. Now, in Kogi State, we have seen that Kogi State has a lot of deficits in terms of infrastructure. We know you're not the governor, but we know that you're a senator. And Nigeria has a peculiar system where lawmakers have access to funds for constituency projects. Are there any free schools in Kogi State, especially in your constituency? Are there free hospitals? Do you have any platform to start a social welfare system in your constituency?
Anyway, I will start by educating the chap from Canada that he must have been speaking from limitation of information. As
Okay.
a legislator, I have no control over funds, not at all. That is primarily the responsibility of the executive.
But the
And
constituency funds?
yeah, you have no control over the funds, not at all.
So what is all this noise that we hear about, you know, the lawmakers getting funds for constituency projects and then, you know, nobody just knows what happens to those funds?
You need you can sign projects by the procurement bureau.
Sorry, we seem to be having some technical difficulties with Senator Melaye.
It's purely
Okay.
the responsibility of the executive, not of the legislature. But possible to advise the present government of Kogi State, because the government presently in Kogi State is not only deaf, but is dumb. But as a legislator, I have influenced over 200 constituency projects into my senatorial district, and 80% of those projects have been completed. And these range from schools to water projects to health facilities, to roads, to bridges, to computer centers, to skill acquisition centers, and a host of others. And I have personally gone around to commission most of these projects. But I want to say the problem is beyond that of governance. It is for us, the people, to vote rightly, and not only vote rightly, but defend our votes. If we have the right leadership, we have all it takes. Like Kogi said, as I speak to you, we have over 30 mineral resources in commercial quantity beneath the earth surface in Kogi State that can be tapped. There is a water movement from Lokoja, Natako in Lokoja, to Onitsha, 8 hours cruise. Dubai is making money from artificial lake for a 3 hours cruise and gulping over $1 billion annually from an artificial lake of 2.5 hours cruise. We have a natural resource from Lokoja to Onitsha, 8 hours cruise, untapped. That alone is enough to generate revenue internationally. And not only that, it becomes a tourist attraction, and you can even host Olympic Marine Games because of that. Not 2 or 3 places in the world can you find that. But it is not tapped, it is not exploited. We have gold, we have gypsum, we have uranium, we have limestone in Kogi. All these have not been tapped. Everyone rushed to Abuja for federal allocation, and forgetting that oil will one day dry up, or the present catastrophe that befell oil would have happened. Today now we are handicapped. We are in a very, very serious catastrophe. So I want to say that
yes, Kogi State seems to be in that position because
say again.
Sorry, Senator Melaye. Kogi State seems to be in that position because I said Kogi State seems to be in that position because from the inception of Kogi State, we have not been able to state categorically that Kogi State has had good governance at any point in time. Like a friend of mine said, Kogi State has been in a rut from day one. That things are so backward in Kogi State, and he's an indigenous state. He said things are so backward in Kogi State, people are still alluding to the fact that a foreigner discovered the confluence in Lokoja. That Kogites have not even realized that these resources have been there before anybody discovered or anybody came to colonize Nigeria. So why do you have such brilliant people, especially from Egbe area of Kogi State, with so many professionals out of there? Why do you keep on having the same type of leadership in Kogi State?
Like I told you, Kogi State is an integral part of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It still boils down to the same problem, like I said, systemic failure, because we basically have a 2-party system in this country. And there's no political party in this country that is ideologically based, whether PDP or
That's
APC.
a fact, yes.
No political party in Nigeria has any manifesto that is tight. Because if you go to Kano, you have APC in Kano, you have APC in Kaduna. The programs of Kano State government is different from that of Kaduna State government, despite the fact that they have the same political party. You also have the same political party in Rivers, PDP, in Bayelsa, PDP, but they have different programs. So we do not have political parties that are ideologically based, or they have manifesto. The last time we have any closeness to manifesto party-oriented programs is that maybe during the Second Republic, because then when you vote for NPN, at least you are sure of having a Shagari housing low cost in your state. And when you vote for UPN those days, you are sure of free education. I mean, at that time, but that is not exactly what it is now. And if you vote for PRP at that time, you know that, yeah, the Talakawa mentality, I mean, the masses-oriented programs will always be there. So, but that is not what we have now. Parties have just become vehicles for winning elections. So, first, I have advocated for a reform of our electoral system that will make it impossible for parties to be used as just mere vehicles for winning elections. We need to create internal democracies in our party and kill the spirit of godfatherism, tribalism, sectionalism, and ethnicism. We must do away with that, because what if you do not reorganize the political structure of the country? You will always give birth to candidates that are going to be products of corruption, products of tribalism, products of religious bigotry, and at the end of the day, it will have a positive concomitant effect on governance. So we must, that's why I said the whole thing is holistic. We need to reboot the system. And the only way to reboot the system is for the followership to take over. And those who don't give damn about what is happening to them must come back. We have two class of people that must come back and be part and parcel of political decisions and implementation. The youth constituency of this country have over 50% of the votes in this country. And if they organize themselves...
67% actually.
I mean, okay. That's why I said over 50, So if they can organize themselves and put themselves together, they become a major decision maker in who governs at all levels. The women is another very strong group that can galvanize themselves together and progressively determine who becomes a leader at all levels. So we need that to happen for us to that cannot happen without some drastic, radical transformation and reformation, including constitutional amendments. Because the problem has to do even with the structure of the country itself. So I'm one of those who are advocating for the restructuring of the country at all levels, political and economic. Then we can now begin to have a headway. But before then, every Nigerian must make sure that we put all leaders, including Dino Melaye, in check. We must be held accountable. We must ask questions. Where necessary, we must carry out civil disobedience peacefully to make sure that we ask governments to do only that which is right. Because I will continue to say that in an unjust society, silence is a crime.
Senator Melaye, we'll take a quick break, just a few seconds, and when we come back, one of our viewers from England has a pertinent question for you. So we'll be back right after this.
Thank you very much. Once it's not asking for my DNA,
I couldn't get into your...
Senator Melaye will be with us shortly after this break. Hi, viewers. We hope you're enjoying yourself, and you can keep the comments coming in for Senator Dino Melaye from wherever you are, and we will do our best to answer, or rather, Senator Melaye will do his best to answer your questions. We are sorry we will not be taking any call-ins. We'll rather have the text messages coming in because the lines are getting jammed. So we will now get Mr. Senator Melaye back into the studio so that we can continue this very, very interesting conversation that we're having. Senator Melaye.
Yeah, thank you.
It's great to have you on the show. Now, you're a man of many parts, and a lot of people have mixed feelings about you. And some good, some bad. Now, looking at your lifestyle, there seems to be a blur between your lifestyle and your political life. You have a lot of lovely cars. That's your personal life. It's obvious that you do love cars. But at the same time, that colorful life seems to have, moved into your political life. I saw, a publication where your net worth is roughly about 500 million, but your cars are worth over $1 billion. How do you reconcile that difference?
Anyway, I want to say that that assessment is fallacious. That assessment is not correct. And I think I will say that I've not been properly assessed. And even I was undervalued by those who think they have valued me.
You are undervalued. Okay.
With every sense of humility, I've been undervalued, if anyone say that. And the truth of the matter is that we have lived in a very pretentious environment for long. We have lived in a very deceptive milieu for long, where as a senator, you are expected to just wear babariga, wear agbada, and wear suits. And if they see a senator with the jeans, they see it as an abnormality. And people are supposed to pretend, drive in a rickety car, and pretend to be a friend of the masses. Meanwhile, they have billions of dollars sitting either in their account or somewhere, So it's been a very deceptive and pretentious life all the same. I'm the one who actually came out to say, anyone should be who he truly is. Today, I've come out to say that my cars have my plate numbers. I drive my Rolls Royce, I drive my Ferrari, I drive my Lamborghini, I drive my Bugatti, and I put my name on the plate number because I've not acquired them illegally. Any other politician in this country who will buy a Rolls Royce and put his name, I'm sure Magu will knock on his door that evening. I'm one of the most investigated Nigerians, but I've never been invited by EFCC, ICPC, or any of the anti-corruption agencies because I've never done government contract, whether at federal or state or at local government level. And if I have any skeleton in my cupboard, definitely with the way the government has been fighting me, I won't be a free man today. As I'm speaking to you, Dino Melaye versus federal government have been arraigned in 12 courts. In 12 courts with the federal government. None of these cases is a case of corruption. They are all frivolous charges, from attempted murder to jumping from a vehicle, from conspiracy, all frivolous charges. And out of these 12 cases, 8 already have won. And there's a judgment coming up on Tuesday for the 9th one. And I know all of them will go the same way because the truth has no volume. The truth will continue to be the truth and all that. So, and I'm one of the most investigated Nigerians. Apart from being one of the most investigated Nigerians, I think the only thing they're yet to find out about me is perhaps where my placenta was buried. And the only woman who can tell them is my mother, and she's late. So, in essence, people must be able to separate my personal lifestyle, understand, from my political life. Every human being has got a passion. Some people's passion is blood. Some occults can spend any amount of money on blood. Some other people's passion is diamonds. They spend billions of dollars on diamonds. Some others, homosexualism. They can pay any young man any amount of money to sleep with it, and vice versa. Some others, people's passion, shoes and bags. Everybody's got his passion. And my passion is automobile. And I have no regrets doing it because I have a purpose, I have a reason for for getting these vehicles, and maybe to the pain of those who are not happy about it. I have one on the sea coming actually.
Senator Melaye, it is your passion. A lot of people understand that that is your passion. You said you have never contracts.
Never.
Are you make even so? Who is Dino Melaye?
Not only that I've never done contracts.
Like I said, you have so many followers on social media.
I've never even have access to
Senator Melaye there. Hello, Senator Melaye.
I can hear you now clearly.
Oh, okay, Senator Melaye, yes. So, in case anybody is wondering, Senator Melaye never shies away from answering a question. So, don't think that that's had anything to do with it. Senator Melaye, a lot of people, oh yes, I followed you for quite a while, so I can tell that you stand up for whatever it is that you believe in. But for some people, they just do not get it. One, how did you come about such wealth, considering the fact that all everybody has ever known about you is politics? So they would like to know, who is the man behind, the politics? Who is Senator Dino Melaye, or should we say, who is Dino Melaye without the senator?
The truth of the matter is that, people don't make their research and they just suffer from verbal diarrhea for no reason. I mean, the property I'm in right now, there's so much hues and cries and shouts about my house and saying there's all gold and this and that. But that house was acquired and furnished before I became a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I can say 97% of my properties I acquired even before becoming a senator. And 90% of my
Did you acquire them when you were in the House of? Did you acquire them when you were in the House of Reps or before that?
Some of them even before I became a member of the House of Reps. Some of them, while I was not even, and some of them I was not a member of the. After I became a member of the House of Reps, I was on the street for 4 years, and I wasn't just sitting down. I used that opportunity to make some good money using my ideas. And the truth of the matter is that I'm a businessman, and the blessing of God maketh rich and add no sorrow. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what I do, so that people who are against me cannot put a bridge or a barrier or a wall. But I want to tell you that I am into very legitimate business, very godly business, celestially blessed, and above all, God's hand is upon me.
You sound very philosophical, and we see that you do a lot of praise and worship and things like that. Now, considering what your position is, because having the title senator, a lot of Nigerians do not realize that apart from the title president and vice president, that is the only other political office that you get the title and it follows you to your grave. Coupled with your philosophy or your philosophical perspective and your religious inclination, how do you relate to the kind of comments that you see on your social media feed where a lot of people, young people especially, are asking you for money? This takes us back to the issue of what governance is like in Nigeria. How do you relate all that?
The truth of the matter is that when people speak negatively about me on the social media, or even before me or on pages of newspaper, I see it as vitamin. It's a vitamin to my soul. It's a vitamin to my body. It propels me to work harder and become a more successful story. Because it's better to be spoken about than not to be spoken about at all. And I don't even believe there's a negative publicity, So I mean, that addressed that. But for those who always come to your social media to ask for money, ask for support, send account numbers, it's a reflection of the society and how backward we have become, And I think the answer to that is for all leaders to make sure that we eradicate that by making a provision to create an enabling environment that will cater for the younger generations, not only white-collar jobs, but to create an enabling environment, skill acquisition programs, vocational training centers, promotion of ideas and ideology, middle-class, small-scale enterprise, and investment in small-scale enterprise, and all that. And I think we need to rework because the government is getting it wrong. There's no difference between National Directorate from Employment to People's Bank to D3 to what you now have as Medan, to what you have as NDE. All these are the same, one and the same, because they all follow the same pattern of giving money, small money. No. We need to reorganize our focus and create proper empowerment programs for skill acquisition, not just throwing money around. That's why I'm laughing at all the trader money and going around to say you are giving people 10,000, 20,000. In the 21st century, you are carrying cash in communities. How do you account for that? You understand? The middle class production level needs to be worked on extremely. I don't know. I don't understand.
But there's no infrastructure, Senator Dino Melaye. There's no infrastructure for people to actually take on. Like, take for instance, now we're on air, and you have been having challenges even with the internet. So, in an idea-based economy, how do people translate their ideas into reality when they consistently come up with infrastructural challenges? These are supposed to be basic things of life. It is one of the reasons why you have the mass exodus from Nigeria. I have one particular question.
We're saying the same thing.
I have one particular question, Senator Dino Melaye, and I'm sure that you yourself, you've had that experience, or you're presently having that experience. The entire Nigerian police force is less than 400,000 in number. But every VIP in Nigeria has a minimum of 2 to 3 policemen following them around.
More.
This is a deficit to the security system in the country. How do you maintain infrastructural development when you do not have adequate security? When a particular person is moving around and is a VIP and then he has maybe 15, 20 police and DSS escorting them, are they not supposed to be escorting or protecting Nigerians, not politicians and VIPs?
That is not actually the crux of the matter. You see, it is good. We are definitely under-policed. No argument about that. Statistically, going by the population of the country, we are under-policed by the United Nations standard. We are under-policed. But apart from being under-policed, you must also talk about the utility value of what you have. Is there training and retraining of even the policemen you have now? What is the level of their entry education level? I've advocated that minimum of first degree should be for entry level of the police. You don't see a man who bought a school certificate, who can neither speak English or write his name on the road, and he will be an effective police officer, and he will not compromise, and he will not smoke Indian hand, and he will not collude with robbers. So we need a holistic reorganization of even the police itself. So that even if you don't have enough policemen, but you have effective, the few that you have are effective, there's a limit to the level of manipulation and collaboration and corruption they can entail. So what I'm saying in essence, and this does not underscore the point that VIPs have taken over the chunk of our policemen. That is the truth. Because they're also trying to protect themselves and their lives, because the society is insecure.
But what are they protecting themselves from? Who created the insecurity? What are they protecting themselves from?
The truth of the matter is that
we have a situation where
I speak to you now.
You can't even set up a small barn. You can't set up a small barn to keep your yams without your yams being raided in the village. The people at the grassroots do not feel any form of governance at those grassroots. They have local councillors, they have local government chairmen who earn stupendous amounts of money, but no projects are being carried out. They have no electricity, they have no roads, they have no access to healthcare. And nobody seems to be talking about these things.
Without interjecting you or trying to call you short.
Yes.
The answer to that is also corruption, because Governors collect monies that are meant for the local governments. They don't release monies to local government chairmen because local government chairmen are not democratically elected. Most of the local government chairmen in this country are caretaker committee chairmen appointed by the governor, are imposed by the governor, so they don't have a life of their own. So they automatically give the life of the local government in terms of finances to the governor. And the governor only sent peanuts at the end of the day to the local government that can hardly pay salaries. When I was growing up as a child, Habib, local governments were tying roads. Local governments were building bridges. Local governments were building and maintaining schools. Local government was training and retraining teachers. Today, it is not possible because the governor hijacked the resources of the local government and only release what he feels and impose a local government chairman. A local government chairman that is democratically elected by the people, whose allegiance is with the people, will not take the money meant for the development of the local government and hand it over to the governor. So
when this is done, they do not. That means no contracts are being executed
at all. You can go around the local government in this country. No local government is even digging a well.
Okay. One of our viewers from Nigeria has this, and I'll put it on the screen for you to answer. He has this question for you. So Ogmo Okade is asking, did you get any contract allocated to you as a senator?
Not at all. And I will not do that.
So senators don't have access to governments. They don't have access to, because we see quite a lot of things, you know. Is this just news?
There's nothing impossible in a corrupt society. But I, Dino Melaye, did not get any contract allocated to me. I've never executed any contracts, whether at state, federal, or local government level. And I've never managed any government interests. And I'm open to investigation by any security agency or financial intelligence outfit of this country. I have never, and I will never.
Okay, so another one of our guests has said something, and I think you need to truly address this. Larry Benro from Miami, I think, says, tell him to get back to grassroots politics with his ideas. That's where it's needed the most. Let's press on that. So, Senator,
I'm actually doing that and that's why I wanted to be governor of Kogi State, and that's why my campaign was very different. I wasn't promising roads, I wasn't promising bridges, because if a governor is there and he's not paying salaries, he's not building roads, he's not building water, you don't need to tell people you have to do that. That is natural, that is expected. That is not what you are expected to do to campaign with. Those are not slogans for campaigns. But I want to build ideas that will revolutionize the economy of Kogi State and make us less dependent on the federal allocation in Abuja. Oil is not sustainable. And global crisis can affect oil price and oil production like now COVID-19 has done to us as a mono economy. So we must move from the era of a monolithic type of economy to an idealistic type of economy, and also develop the mineral resources that we have beneath the earth surface in Kogi State. Like I was explaining to you, Dubai 30 years ago was nowhere, was a wilderness. Only 14% of Dubai was developed as at 1980. Today, over 98% of Dubai land space have been developed. People see they call Dubai as if they are going to one country. Dubai is not even a state. Dubai is one of the districts in the United Arab Emirates. The capital of the United Arab Emirates is Abu Dhabi. But because the king died and somebody took over, rolled up his sleeves, called engineers, called lawyers, called doctors, called computer scientists, and so come, let us sit down. And what I want Dubai to be the busiest air route in the next 25 years. And they sincerely went into action following the framework they've created. And today, Dubai is one of the busiest air routes in the world. It is not rocket science. It takes leadership, tenacity, dedication, and determination. And once you do it, you sit down it will happen. This is not, and we are more blessed than that.
But Senator Melaye, there seems to be some trust issues. Another one of our viewers, her name is Pel Ojomo. What she's saying is, all I get from Dino is that he talks too much. He's not perfect. Yes, I'm very hypocritical. Dino has the right words to tell people. He doesn't practice what he preaches. People are getting tired of him. Now, you have ideas. You want to be governor of Kogi State. Let's not take this as a campaign. Let's not take this as a campaign. Let us look at this holistically and ask a few questions of ourselves. If Kogi State has all that it has, and it has the human resources as well to back it up, and then to implement ideas, looking at your constituency, before you now start looking at Kogi State, as a whole, where do you think you can start from? What are those ideas that you think you can implement that can make an immediate impact in the lives of the people from Kogi State?
I want to start by first discountenancing the rapacious presentation by the last question by a lady, I'm sure. That is very, very
yes,
correct.
Her name is Pearl Ojomo.
Yeah, that is not true. Ojomo, you are not right at all. And you just spoke as if you got a celestial inspiration to write what you write. I mean, if you say one is hypocritical, you will have to explain how it is hypocritical. If you want to say somebody is just blabbing and ranting, you have to give one or two instances to buttress or elucidate your point. But I haven't knocked that out of the way. I want to say that I am very, very passionate about Kogi State and about Nigeria as a country, because I want to, in the next, I want my grandchildren that I may never know to come and not to ask me tomorrow, Daddy, you were a senator. When Nigeria was getting bad, when Kogi State was getting bad, what did you do? I want to be able to answer that I did A, B, C, D, E. I want to be able to answer some questions. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And the truth of the matter is that I want to ask the lady the question. Why did she think I'm in 12 courts today with the federal government? Why did she think I was arrested 18 times in 2018 alone? Why did she think I spent 172 days out of 365 in 2018 in police custody? It is because of my commitment to building a new Kogi State and building a new Nigeria. Why was there a gang up to carry out a recall exercise by INEC on me? And billions of naira spent to recall me from the National Assembly. At the end of the day, that performance was a beautiful nonsense, because it ended up, all they got after incarcerating me at the time was 5%, and the recall failed. All this happened because I stick to the truth. I stick to the fact that the right thing must be done. And that is why I've gone through all these pains, all these attacks. I survived 4 assassination attempts. It's not for fun. A man who tries to kill you 4 times is no joke. It is just by the grace of the Almighty God that I'm here and speaking today and I'm alive. So you cannot say one is hypocritical about that. It is a lifestyle. I got incarcerated during Babangida's government, got incarcerated during Abacha's government. It wasn't for fun. And I have been consistent in my cry for a progressive revolution, building a new society, and making sure that we build a society where the white green will be respected globally. And for me, it's a battle of no retreat, no surrender. And I don't get discouraged, disenchanted, or disorganized, or discouraged by negative comments. I don't, like I said, they are vitamins to me. We are resolute in building a new Nigeria. We are resolute in building a society where our grandchildren will have a life that is structured for them. We are resolute in having a Nigeria where tribe, tongue, or religion will matter not. And these are the steps we are taking, and these ideas we are now catapulting into the grassroots. We are reproducing some of them in local languages. Shortly before the COVID-19, I drew a program of going around Nigerian universities across the country, not only universities, even all higher institutions of learning, to start a talk show on the new Nigeria and the perspective of the younger generation. Because we need to indoctrinate and imbibe in the younger generation some of these ideas and rudiments, because they will become the civil servants tomorrow, they will become judges tomorrow, they will become politicians tomorrow. And if they are already indoctrinated and imbibed with this positive attitudinal change attitude, then it will also have a reflection in governance in the nearest future.
One of our guests from the United States has this to ask you. He said, I do not accuse him of embezzlement of public funds. However, he did acquire several properties since he became a senator. We know that senators appropriated to themselves lavish compensations. Why didn't he fight to end it? Why didn't he reject it? Most importantly, why did he invest so much in luxury vehicles where the people in senatorial districts do not have access to clinics or potable water? So, Senator Melaye, there are a lot of questions that people have for you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trust issues with Nigerian politicians.
Maybe a quick response to that again is that's another fallacious statement. If you say you know a lot of properties I acquired since I became senator, at least you will mention 1, 2, 3. You don't just make an open statement because you have the opportunity.
But these are the trust issues that we are trying to clear up, Senator Dino Melaye. That people have trust issues with politicians.
The truth. If you want to have
of course, it's not. Nobody is saying this is the truth.
It's the truth.
Perspective.
If you say you know that he has acquired many properties since he became a senator, the way to authenticate or validate that is to say property 1, property 2, property 3 was acquired after he became a senator and give the address. But you can't just make a blanket statement because you have the opportunity to interact with me on social media. But I haven't said that. The truth of the matter is this. The people must identify those they want to work with. If some people are becoming sacrificial and going through hell to make sure that they build a new society and government is attacking and fighting them, and the people for whom you are doing this also refuse to appreciate what you are doing or partner with you to work with you, then you know there's a problem. There's going to be a problem. You don't go
with the amount of cases you have, Senator Melaye, with the amount of court cases you have,
yes.
Which costs you more, your medical bills or your legal bills? Because you are fighting so many cases at the same time. This is what one of our viewers says. So what are the status? This is what one of the viewers, Mohammed Abdulaziz from Nigeria, Ilorin, says. What are the status of his various court cases? I expect he would have sued the police by now for wrongful detention. How many battles do you want to fight?
Basically, like I said, I've been arraigned by the police in 12 different courts. 8 of those cases have been decided all in my favor. There's a judgment on Tuesday for the 9th one. And by the time I am through with all these cases, I also know my rights. And I know what to do. As I'm speaking to you already, I have 2 judgments against the police where 10 million have been awarded as compensation to me. So the Nigerian police is owing me 20 million naira already. And I know by the time I am through with them, I will be richer for it. Because every right of mine that has been infringed, I'm going to contest in the court of law, including malicious prosecution by the Nigerian police. And even by the federal government. It's not only the police, even by the federal government. Most of the cases are not just police cases. Some of them are also federal government sued me in some of the cases. Like one of the cases that the federal government sued me on, the judgment is coming up on Tuesday, where there was an assassination attempt on me. Police arrested the assassins, paraded them, got the guns they used, got the vehicles they used, and they were arraigned in the court, sorry. They were arraigned in court. And the same federal government came up to say it's misinformation.
Hello, Senator Melaye?
Yes, I can hear you right.
I can't seem to hear you.
Oh, okay.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Hello, Senator Melaye?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me clearly now?
I can hear you now, Senator. Yes, I can hear you clearly now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is an instance where my life was attempted. The assassins were arrested. They got all the guns they used. They got the vehicle they used. They were paraded by the police and arraigned by the police and were all in court. Some of them even gave evidence in court. But the same federal government now suing me for misinformation. There's one of the cases now, federal government, President Dino Melaye, they charged me for conspiracy. And I go to court and I'm alone. And the judge is asking, Dino Melaye, who do you conspire against with? And I said, maybe I conspired against myself. So I'm going to say that I'm in answering Mohammed Abdulaziz, I am going to contest every right of mine that has been infringed upon by the federal government and the Nigerian police, and I will be richer for it at the end of the day. And it's part
okay,
of the
we'll now go to
it's part of the price to pay.
somebody.
Freedom coming by struggle. Some persons must pay the price, and I'm ready to.
So somebody, another viewer, Boho Benji, says you are the only voice of the people, Senator Dino Melaye. Now, if people have this, if some people have this level of trust in you, and some people don't trust you, that means that there's a problem with the communication. That means that you're not reaching out to
there's no problem.
enough people.
There's no problem.
Especially when you have
there's no problem.
Hello?
There's no problem, when you fight corruption fight back at you.
Yes.
When you fight corruption fight back at you. Those who are fighting will not keep quiet. They must hire Voltrons who will attack you. They must hire Voltrons who will accuse you. Some of them even open fictitious Facebook, Instagram, Twitter pages. One person with over 30 computers in his house and sending messages with different fake names and all that, insulting you and calling you names. These people will fight back, and we know that. But the truth of the matter is that once there's sincerity of purpose, of heart, and commitment, ignore those negativities and continue to do what you're doing. At the end of the day, truth will always prevail. I'm not discouraged. Jesus Christ came on earth. Among 12, there was a Judas. So if every 12 you have one Judas, then definitely you should not get destroyed. But Jesus Christ came to earth and still fulfilled the reason why he came to earth. Prophet Muhammad was betrayed by his own people. So, I mean, it is not unexpected. And it should not be
another guest, another viewer, Abola Tunde says, good sir, can you give an example of what you've done in your constituency, I'm sure that's what he meant, to show that Nigeria can be like Dubai of our time?
Maybe he skipped, maybe he was not listening, or he was not.
Yes, he probably wasn't listening. So they would like to know.
I mentioned that I've done over 200 constituency projects in my place, and I named the different classes of projects that I've embarked on. I told you from skill acquisition centers that I built, to health centers, to road constructions, to bridges, to schools, to power projects, to water, solar water projects, and a number of that. And I want to tell, and I said over 80% of those projects have been commissioned and running. And that is what I can do within my limits. But I want to tell you that given a larger platform, we'll always do more. And the vision is not even to be doing all this project. The vision is actually to teach a man how to fish and not to give him fish. And that's, how do you do that? By indoctrination and imbibing values, ideas that will revolutionize the economy of different milieux and jurisdiction.
One more question before we go, and that question is a personal question to yourself. If you had the opportunity to do things all over again, starting from the House of Reps to the Senate, what would you have done differently?
There's nothing to do differently. There's only something to do. There's only to do more of what I've been doing. Because I want to believe I've been I've been on course, and I've always stood by the truth. I've always argued the best I can. I've moved the highest number of motions and bills in the history of the National Assembly. And these are all pro-people motions and bills. So given the opportunity again, I can only say I will do more.
Senator Dino Melaye, we thank you very, very much for coming on this show.
The pleasure is always mine.
You are one of the most accessible politicians in Nigeria. You do not shy from answering questions, regardless of where those questions are coming from and how those questions come across. We hope that you will be able to impact positively on the lives of your constituency, of Nigeria, and help to drive Nigeria forward and change the present narrative. We hope to see you on the show again at some point. You have a great day and have a fantastic week ahead.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Dino Melaye. So there you have it. So whether you like him or not, Senator Dino Melaye is an enigma. He does things that make, people ask a lot of questions all of the time. People want to know, who really is Dino Melaye? Can he make a change? If he becomes governor, will he be able to do the things he says? If he becomes president, if he eventually gets to that point, what would we see? And how would it impact on the lives of Nigerians? Keep your comments coming in. We'll respond to your comments on social media, and we hope that we'll see you again very soon. You have a great day, everybody. A fantastic week ahead.